Scene. Navigating Lake Devo. Dan first describes how to navigate. Susan says, quote, Dan, can you tell me how to navigate through Lake Devo using my screen reader? Quote. Dan says, quote, you can list the headings on the screen and use those to move around. In Chromevox that would be the Chromevox key, Alt+L+H, quote. Heading list. Use up and down arrow keys to browse, or type to search. Main. Welcome to Lake Devo. Heading 1. Press Enter. My movies. Heading 2. Press Enter to accept or escape to cancel. Other community movies. My movies. Heading 2. Press Enter to accept or escape to cancel. Down for next and up for preview. Susan says, quote, using headings to move around the screen works well for me, quote. Scene. Creating a character. Dan explains how to create a. Susan says, quote, can you tell me how to create a character? Quote. Dan says, quote, to do that, open the movie you want to add the character to from the My Movies screen, quote. Dan says, quote, in the movie settings, press the Characters tab to open the character editor, then press Create New Character, quote. Lake Devo accessibility. Lake Devo accessibility. Visited link. Movie settings. Button. Movie settings. Tab list with 3 items. Movie info. Characters. Visited link tab selected 2 of 3. Character. Lake Devo. Movie characters. Main. Characters. Create new character. Button. Create new character. Dan says, quote, when the character editor opens, start typing in the name for your character. Then add a description and choose the gender and age group, quote. Character name. Mary. Edit text required. List item. 2. Description. This is Mary. Text area required. 3. The gender of this character is female. 4. This character is an adult. Dan says, quote, save your character. Then choose some characteristics, like nose and face shape, hairstyle and color, the shirt and outerwear, and accessories. Save that, then navigate to the character to hear the description, quote. Dan says, quote, use the arrow keys to move between tabs, the tab key to move into a panel, and the arrow keys again to move through options, quote. Face, nose, hair, and hair tab panel list with 13 items. Long and straight with side bangs. Long bouffant with bangs. Link list item selected. Tab list with 7 shirt. Outerwear. Internal link tab select. Outerwear tab panel list. Police uniform. Link list item selected. Susan says, quote, when I navigate to my character, I hear her described with all the features I added. How did you do that? Quote. Mary is a woman. She has a heart-shaped face, light complexion and a Roman nose. Mary has black long bouffant with bangs hair. She is wearing a police uniform. Dan says, quote, each characteristic has a text description. These are strung together and added to an aria described by attribute. When your character is in focus, that description gets read, quote. Scene. Creating a scene. Dan explains how to create a scene. Susan says, quote, how can I create a scene? Quote. Dan says, quote, in the movie settings open the scenes tab, type in the title for the scene, and a short description. Then choose a background to set the location of the scene, quote. Dan says, quote, you can now add your characters to the scene, adjust facial expressions, and add a speech or thought bubble, an action, or a sound, quote. Script editor. Use this to add, edit, or delete script items. Select facial expression list with 8 items. Happy. Link list. Sad. Happy. Neutral. Link list item select. Select a script type using the arrow keys and then tab into the input field to enter the script text for this script item tab list with 5 items. Enter speech here. I would like to use Lake Devo to create a role-play scenario for learning about Lake Devo accessibility. Dan says, quote, press the Add to Script button to insert the item into the script. You will hear a feedback message when it's added, quote. Here. Add to Script. Button. Item was successfully added. Alert. Suzanne is happy and says, quote, how did you get my screen reader to read the feedback message, quote. Dan says, quote, the ARIA alert role is added to the feedback message role equal L alert. This causes your screen reader to read the message automatically, quote. Susan says, quote, what if I want to make a change to an item I have already added to the script, quote. Dan says, quote, in the script area use the CVOX plus tab key to move forward until you find the item you want to change. Then press the tab key until you reach the edit button. Then press enter, quote. Mary's scene. Combo box 4 of 4. Mary says, quote, I would like to use Lake Devo to create a role-play scenario for learning about Lake Devo accessibility. Script item controls. Edit script item. Item 1 of 1 is ready for updating. Alert. So Susan says, quote, when I updated the item my screen reader announced the update was successful. It even told me which of the items was updated. How did you get my screen reader to announce all that useful information? Quote. Dan says, quote, when the item is saved, the script area updates and the cursor's focus is sent to that item in the script. Your screen reader then automatically reads the area label associated with that item, quote.